Have you ever opened, like, your direct deposit on your computer and, like, have seen that, or you've seen that it's, like, gone through, and then you call your work or you check your mobile banking statement and it's not there? So my direct deposit just doesn't want to go through. This happened last week, too. I'm frustrated. I don't want to go get my check anymore. I just want it on my card. This is terrible. You don't understand. Anyways, hey guys, it's Diabetic Girl. I am having a very strange week in case you haven't noticed, but I'm pretty sure you have. Anyways, welcome back to my channel where I do sometimes daily, mostly weekly vlogs about type 1 diabetes. I'm very excited to have you here. If it is your first time here, go ahead and comment down below how long you've had diabetes or what you want to learn. Let's make this like a big discussion circle. I love discussions. So, yesterday I made a video talking about how to survive in school and make your school years more easy to get by, especially when you're older and dealing with your diabetes on your own. On my own. You got my drift? So, yesterday, in yesterday's video, I mentioned that I have had a couple situations with teachers who didn't exactly want to play by the rules. So, today I have 4 stories for you. I'm going to give you, like, condensed versions. Some of them are so old that, like, it took me a little while to remember these. My favorite is, I filmed this video a couple of times already, like, to try to tell each story and, like, see how it makes sense when it comes out of my face. And I was filming it the last time, and I totally just remembered this story, the first one I'm going to talk about, which happened when I was in the 3rd grade. Oh my god, little tiny me, oh my god. Oh, yes. So, in the 3rd grade, I had a teacher who, the first, 2 months, she wasn't in school because she broke her foot. But she came to the school to have my 504 meeting with my mom. For those of you who are wondering, my stepdad doesn't really play much of a role in my diabetes. Like, when I was younger, he would give me my shots, but it's mostly been my mom and I for as long as I can remember. And the 3rd grade was also a very awkward time for me because I was starting to feel very different. And I didn't want to be different. Does anybody else notice this, piece of hair? Okay, I fixed it. I didn't want to be different. Yeah, sure, I've always been my own person. And, that is totally fine by me. I love being my own person. I love having my own thought process. I love, getting up and doing what I want to do and not what anybody else wants to do. So, that's always been fine. But, I just felt a little weird and, out of place. And this teacher didn't exactly help with that. So as I said, she missed the first 2 months of school. So she came back into school, and myself and the substitute and the teacher aide that I used to go to the nurse when I had to go was usually, we had our own routine, our own schedule, and it worked really well for all of us. My teacher's aide, even to this day, I'll see her at work, and it makes me so excited because she, made monuments in my life, and I'm so thankful for this woman. And she's, the positive of this story, because this woman helped me with my diabetes from the time that I was in, the 2nd grade until I was in the 5th grade with her, because she was a 5th grade teacher aide, but she, used to take me to the nurse and, make sure I was A-okay, because this, in the 2nd grade, I didn't really need her, because my teacher was very on top of my diabetes, very on top of my grades, just a very wonderful person altogether. I loved my 2nd grade teacher. My little sister had my 2nd grade teacher, and I was, so excited for, parents' night, because I got to go back and see her. Yeah, how cool am I? So cool. Anyways, so this teacher's aide and I, we all had, a routine. And this teacher came back in, November, maybe early December, and, pushed the routine out of the way. Didn't want to have to deal with it. Didn't want to have to deal with my diabetes. She would, take away my gym classes because I would forget to do a side of the homework. And, so she called my mom one time. And my mom was like, well, how is she supposed to know we had, this, I remember, it was, a big packet. And I missed, the last page. Because it wasn't, an obvious, you know how when sometimes you get packets and you, think you're done because it looks like it's the last page and then it's not. So apparently this was one of those ones that she took from a curriculum book and it said stop at the bottom of the page, so I stopped. like a normal little kid would do. So she got mad at me and took away my recess and my gym that day. And my mom was like bananas because we used my recess and my gym time to allow me to get some energy out. Sometimes if my blood sugar was higher, lower that blood sugar and like really get me prepared and ready for the rest of my school day. Get all the energy out, get the blood sugar in a good area. So at that point in time, she's been there for like 2 months. So it's probably like, I don't know, January now. My mom is already ready to kill her. Now this woman, when I go low, so I kept juice and stuff in the classroom, and it had always just been a thing. When I went low, it was never like a matter of, oh, go get your juice box. It was like a big fucking production every time I had to like get a juice box or like go to the nurse. Like it was just a production and a half. And it was the absolute worst, okay? Like I already hated being a diabetic as a child, and this just made it like 10 times worse. Oh my God. She would give me such crap when I had to treat a low blood sugar, when I had to leave to go to the nurse. Like it was just the worst year of my life, okay? Like I just remember being so miserable all the time. And she just really put me in a position where I was very uncomfortable to be myself. And, you can't do that to me now. I'm very much stern in my own ways, and I would always, always, always want to just be myself and be true to myself. But this woman made it so hard for me, and it was absolutely terrible, and it broke my heart. Just because, when you're younger, you're so vulnerable to anything that happens. And, like, I look back on it now, and I'm like, I probably could have been less upset about it, but it was a very, very big deal in the 3rd grade, all right? My world was going to end. And I know it sounds terrible. And, just because I feel like this is getting really heavy and I hate that, I will say that in the 4th grade, on the first day of school, I passed out because I was, like, so nervous. But my teacher in the 4th grade, oh my God, I still talk to him today. He is absolutely wonderful. He works in the Woburn public school systems now, and I see him every so often, and it makes me the happiest person ever. Like, after he found out about my diabetes, he had us do these all about me bags so that the entire classroom could learn. And when I was in the 4th grade, that happened to be the year that I went on the pump. It was a very big year for me, and he always just made me feel so welcome and like so comfortable, and would always make sure that if I needed to explain something to my classmates to not scare them, that he would, research it first and really, really, really make sure he could help me be the best that I could be. And I really, really honestly think that that is why I have gotten so far, not just because of my mom, but because I did have this teacher who absolutely just wanted the very best for me and really, 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 really just wanted me to be happy. And that was absolutely wonderful. I know he's not watching, but thank you so much, Mr. Clark, for everything you did for me and to really just make me feel absolutely and completely comfortable in my own skin in a time that I was really trying to be anything but myself. So the next scenario happened when I was in the 6th grade, so I'm a little bit older. It's about 3 years after the original scenario, and to me, it was absolutely mortifying because I had this teacher, like, how you guys have, like, your favorite teacher, and it's like, you hold them on the pedestal, and you're just like, yes. This teacher just totally overstepped boundaries. I am still not happy with it today. She is actually dead. She died from cancer a couple of years ago, and I was really upset when it happened, regardless of what happened between her and I, because she still was a great teacher while I had her. But let's dive into this one. This one is terrible. So what I didn't know beforehand was that apparently my mom, went to have the 504 meeting. Now, I don't know how your middle school is set up, but I was, on a team, so I had, 6 teachers all together, and so my mom, met with all 6. So when my mom met with all of the teachers, this woman, gave my mom problems even then, telling her that, I wasn't going to be allowed to check in the classroom, I wasn't going to be allowed to treat my low blood sugar in the classroom, this was not going to be acceptable. But my mom kind of was like, you know what, whatever, it's a new school, we'll go with it. Now, as the school year progressed, I had more and more trouble with this teacher. All leading up to one final event where I ended up transferring schools. So for those of you who, if I've talked about like my past and like why I transferred schools, this is why. So one fateful day, it was like the week before February vacation, and I only remember this because it was the same week that I was going to February Wacky at like 6 years ago, and I had to go, like I went to go check out the school before I went to camp that weekend. So basically, I had lunch like the period before this class, and I felt really, really, really weird after lunch. So I couldn't find, like I carried a little purse, little Vera Bradley, like tiny little thing. I carried that around with me, so I had asked if I can go get it from my locker, and it wasn't in my locker. And I was like, well, I don't have time to waste with this, like I really don't feel good. So I went down to the nurse, and the nurse was like, well, we need to find your purse. So we go upstairs, and this teacher like flips out, starts telling me that like I'm incompetent. She's yelling at the school nurse, who's literally just trying to help me. So the school nurse goes in, gets my purse, and brings all of my stuff downstairs and me downstairs. Now, I get to like the nurse's office, and my blood sugar is HI. I have ketones, so obviously that's why I felt weird. So, you know, this teacher's like flipping out and yelling at me, and I'm like a hysterical mess. I'm in the nurse's office, like 20 minutes later, still a hysterical mess, like asking her what I'm supposed to do. I'm freaking out. This teacher, then my mom called her after the nurse had talked to her, and this teacher was like, well, she should have known better. She shouldn't have said she was going to her locker when she was going to the nurse. And I totally was going to my locker. I seriously could not find my purse anywhere. I'm kind of a space cadet. So I was like freaking out. My mom was beyond pissed. I stayed the rest of the day because I think I had like chorus and then like reading after that. So I stayed the rest of the day. And then I turned in some assignments, and my science teacher wanted to talk to me just to make sure I was okay. Now, my science teacher in the 6th grade, guys, okay, this man still does so much in the Beverly community. He's a football coach. He is absolutely wonderful. Like, the love I wish I could, share with you guys for this man, because I literally only had him for 6 months, but he was so good. If I needed something, he made sure he was right on top of it. Like, just absolutely wonderful. I loved having him as a teacher. It was wonderful. Literally wonderful. So, you know, he wanted to make sure I was okay, and I was still really upset because I didn't understand where this was coming from. I had never seen this side of this teacher, and she was, like, my favorite teacher, you know? So, I had never seen this side of her. I was freaking out, and then that happened on, like, a Tuesday. So, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I didn't even go to school because I was beyond done. And then my mom's friend, who was also one of my friends, who owns the camp, the summer camp I used to go to when I didn't go to Barton, like the one I went to after Barton, she was working at a school. She was working at a charter school in Marblehead. So my mom and I decided to go check it out, and I was there for a couple of hours, and I fell in love with it. Like that. So that, for those of you who don't know, I went to Marblehead Community Charter Public School for middle school. I transferred there halfway through my 6th grade year, and I found myself to be in a very comfortable position, and I was happy with myself once again. But then again, middle school is like that really weird time. But that's beside the point. That would be like another video for another day, perhaps. But, so that is, for those of you wondering why I didn't go to the local middle school, that is why. Because I had a teacher harass the crap out of me and my diabetes, and it was fun. No, it wasn't. Alright. So now we're going to skip ahead again, like 5 years to my junior year in high school, and I know I have touched basis on this in so many videos because this was like the big problem my junior year of high school, and I literally like called the ADA 1,000 times because I was so done with this teacher. So, ready? Here's a big shock. It's another fucking math teacher. So, in my junior year of high school, I was still very on top of my diabetes and what I needed to do for it. So I usually, because this class happened like an hour and a half after lunch, I would usually check my blood sugar in this class, and every time I pulled out my meter, she threatened to take it away. And every time I pulled out my pump, she threatened to take it away. One time she actually tried to take it away, and I was like, it's not going to come off my body. And this literally went on for the entire school year. I would ask her to the bathroom, and she would, like, give me the dirtiest looks. Like, do you have to go right now? Yeah, I do. Sorry. And it was just absolutely terrible. Like, I would leave school so mad, and I kept being, like, saying to her, like, you know, if you read my 504, it might make more sense to you, and she'd be like, yep, yeah, whatever. All right, fine. I really, really, really tried to help this teacher and to not have me strangle her because I had to deal with her all year. So I really tried to, like, take the steps and, like, show her everything. I had the nurse tell her what my pump was at least 45 times, and she still didn't listen. She was constantly trying to take it away. Like, it literally wasn't until, like, the last week of school that she, like, finally just gave up, thinking it was a phone. So I obviously failed that class because I couldn't take care of myself, which is why I had to take my algebra class my senior year of high school. And one of the funniest things that everyone on, like, you know, like, principal teachers saying was, how do you go from getting an F to an A minus? I'm like, well, teacher wouldn't let me take care of myself. What do you want me to do? And it was very frustrating on my end because I was really trying to, like, keep communication open and, like, tell her, like, hey, I may need to check it this time or this time, so just a heads up. You know, like, really, really tried to keep her in the loop, and it still backfired so severely. And, like, the funniest part about my senior year story is that the teacher that I had the problem with my junior year was directly across the hall from the teacher I was having the problem with my senior year. So, who's ready for my senior year story? Okay, so my senior year in high school, my basals or something was just off, and I would always go low, like, around 10 o'clock. And most of the time I could treat in the class, but sometimes I would go, like, really low, and I did not want to stay in, I wanted to stay in class, but, like, I didn't feel comprehensible enough to stay in class, if that makes sense. Yes, I'm educated. I swear. So I decided on this one day that I was 70, but I felt really, really shaky, and I couldn't keep my head straight, so I'd asked to go to the nurse, and my Spanish teacher pulls me out of the classroom and starts yelling at me about it, and I'm like, whoa there. So then I get down to the nurse's office. I'm ape shit, okay? Like, I've already gone fucking bananas. I'm now ape shit. I am ape shit. Alright, like, I'm ready to fucking kill someone. And I get to the nurse, I get it all taken care of, and then I was wearing a CGM at the time. My CGM says I'm dropping rapidly, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna ignore it. I don't care. And then I get to band, and I know all of you guys have heard wonder stories about Mr. Costa and how amazing he is, and I will stand by that to this day. You're the real MVP. But literally, and I do mean literally, I get to band. My blood sugar is 36. I am hysterically crying. I'm like, please don't be mad at me. And he's like, what the? Why would I be mad at you? I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's like, just go! I'm so sorry, mister. Go! Just go! So I'm, like, so emotionally damaged from this teacher, like, yelling at me. And, like, I'm absolutely horrified because for those of you who don't know, sometimes when I get, like, yelled at for something I need to be doing, I feel, like, very tense and, like, drawn back and, like, I shouldn't try to, you know, go and take care of this. So I'm, like, freaking out. Mr. Costa's freaking out. And he's like, just please go! Go take care of yourself. I'm like, alright, fine. Okay. Bye. Like, I was just so out of it. And I finally come back, and he's like, you're okay, right? I'm like, yeah, thanks. I'm really sorry again. And, you know, no teacher should leave you feeling that uncomfortable. And these are multiple situations. The ones where I was younger, it's not like I could do much. But I really, really tried with my junior year teacher. And, like, my senior year, it was like it was a single semester class. So at that point in time, I was like, whatever, I don't even care. But, like, this just goes to show you, keep your lines of communication open. I feel like I'm really lucky because I didn't have a ton of problems with teachers in my schooling lifetime. Because I really tried to be, like, open and honest with them and let them know that, like, obviously I wanted to be there and I was just going to need their help. So yeah, those are my teacher horror stories. I will do another video, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, about good teachers I've had and the ones that I really had enjoyed having. I mentioned a couple of them in this video, but there are a lot more that were just fabulous and absolutely wonderful. So maybe that'll be like tomorrow's video. Anyways, I'm sorry this was so long, but it had to be done. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and support, and I will see you next time. Bye!